do oxygen masks come down, who do you, you're next to a child, who do you put it on? Who's supposed to put the mask on first, the child or yourself? You put it on yourself because you're providing the health for the child. Well, it should be the same for anyone that's in the medical profession, that, you know, the best sermon is by example. If you're going to sit there and say that you're a health provider and you don't provide it for yourself, what kind of message are you giving to everybody you come in contact with? And one of the biggest reasons why a lot of the nurses, we'll just take for example, have an obesity problem is because the way it's structured, where they're given 15-minute breaks in a 12-hour day, and they only get to go to the vending machines. And the one thing, I used to own a health club with a cardiologist in San Antonio for years, and when I go down the different hallways of the hospitals, because there's 11 hospitals within a 5-mile radius in San Antonio medical area, every hallway smelled like buttered popcorn. And so it made me understand why so many nurses were obese, because that was their lunch, that was their dinner, that was their staple. It made absolutely no sense to me. But when I start working with them on an individual basis, because I used to lecture about 150 of them at a time, I would say if you fail to plan to fail. You need to have a game plan for your own health so you can provide it for everybody else. And if the doctor tells you that you're only allowed a 15-minute break, you better tell them to buy you a refrigerator, because they can afford it, and put food in it that you can eat that makes sense. Because 80% of what you look like is what you eat, 20% is the exercise. You can walk to the moon and back every day, and if you stop at Taco Bell, you're done. Okay, so it's important that the eating part is what you really need to function on. Now, one thing that's made me successful over the years in behavior modification because I've worked with a lot of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, low self-esteem, low self-respect, low self-confidence, low self-worth. All these things, basically, you got to get into the attitude of the person, the emotion of the person, before you give a do or don't list. Because you know as well as I do, I can sit up here and give anybody in here a do or don't list, and it's worthless. If you're not ready, it's worthless. And I always tell people, I can navigate a ship to go anywhere in the world, but the ship's got to be ready to leave the dock. So before I give any kind of do or don't list of what's proper symmetry or balance of eating, or what would be important to change, because obviously it's going to be individualized. That's another thing that a lot of books have a tendency to do, is try to make cookie-cut situations where everybody should be on the zone, everybody should be on this. First of all, 40-30-30 makes no sense for people that sit on 2 meals a day and sleep on the third. If you're a sedentary person, how is 40-30-30 going to work? It's not. Okay? Just like you're going to feed a ballet dancer differently than I'm going to feed an NFL football player, I promise you. Okay? I'm going to feed a marathon runner differently than I'm going to feed a secretary. So everything is based on, like he said earlier, activity. What are you doing? What are you functioning as a human being? And then you deal with how to fuel the machine. But you fuel the machine based on what the person's activity level is and what that person's trying to accomplish. So when I deal with nurses, I tell them that, half your day is going to be negative, at least. Deadpans, death, dealing with people crying, people complaining, people stressed out, people type A personalities demanding everything under the sun because their patient's more important than anybody in the entire place. And you're going to be dealing with that hour after hour after hour after hour. So now, where does your day of balance come in? Anytime anybody's raining on your parade, the first thing you need to do is think about self-improvement. What can I do, because this part of my day is negative, what can I do so that at the end of the day, I have symmetry in my life with a balance of feeling good about myself? So anytime someone cuts you off on the highway, or anytime somebody tells you something, your mate tells you you don't look good, or this is happening, it doesn't matter what bad negative sentence is going through your computer up here, self-improvement is going to make you feel
better. And then that way, food will not be your friend. Okay? You're either going to eat to live or live to eat. And a lot of times with stress, or a lot of times with the wrong attitude, we live to eat because it's immediate gratification. We kind of probably get that programmed when we didn't want to go to school one day and your mom said, it's okay, you can stay home. We're going to give you this food. Everything will be all right. It's going to be okay. But wherever it came from doesn't matter. The bottom line is you've got to learn how to eat to live and not live to eat. And food is basically fuel to give you a quality of life, energy, and a tuned machine. You definitely want to have a tuned machine. I guarantee that we spend so much time worrying about oil changes and this with our car and that with our car, but we need to think about the same policy for our own machine. Unfortunately, there's no Napa parts for that. At least with the car, you can go out and get some Napa parts and fix it. Okay, so, for example, I see everybody drinking their water. One of the things that I teach is that 64 ounces of water a day, I recommend, plus, especially in Arizona, plus 8 ounces for every 25 pounds a person needs to lose. Okay, and that way, you can start your own human oil change going. Especially if you're eating marketed products that sound good, because they got a catchy name, like lean cuisine, or healthy choice. Okay, but in the meantime, they've got additives, preservatives, emulsifiers, solidifiers. They got things in there that cause cancer. I recommend if you're going to eat cancerous foods, at least flush them out. At least have a human oil change. Drink your water, clean it out. You're going to eat a bunch of stuff like canned vegetables that are 6-month-old food soaked in salt and sugar. Clean it out. Now, if I invited you to my house and I said we're going to have 6-month-old food, would you want to come over? I don't think so. But yet you're going to buy something that would, from the time that it was put in the can and manufactured, then stuck in a warehouse somewhere, and then put in some other warehouse that's the head, like let's use Bash's, for example. Okay, let's say that it goes from the main manufactured warehouse to the Bash's warehouse, then distributed in corrugated boxes to the back of some store, and then you got some stock boy. Maybe you'll find the box maybe a month or two later and put it up, and you rotate it, and then of course it probably sits in your cabinet for another 2 months, and then finally you're opening up that 6-month-old food soaked in salt and sugar. Now, that same vegetable, if you had it even in a refrigerated situation in your house, if you leave it even in refrigeration too long, if there isn't additives and preservatives in it, all kinds of funny things grow on it. You get little like green moss and pink things growing, you know, like Jack and the Beanstalk when you open up your refrigerator. Well, if that's going to happen in refrigeration, now you know why they put all these preservatives in these cans. The theme of the supermarket is shelf life, not your life. Okay, in other words, how long can we keep this product so we don't have to get rid of it and sell it to somebody so we can make some money? So they love Twinkies. Supermarkets love Twinkies. Now you can take a package of Twinkies and you can put it on a table, come back 10 months later, it looks exactly the same. Same texture, same color, you squeeze it. That's because there's no food in it. Okay, it'd be like putting a telephone on this desk and coming back. You know what? You come back in 6 months, the telephone's going to look exactly the same. You got to learn how to eat food, natural foods. Okay, you don't want to eat. I know I'm not a longshoreman, so I do eat tuna in a can because I don't have the liberty to go fishing every day. But there are a lot of things. If you have the option, why would you want something with additives, preservatives, emulsifiers, and solidifiers in it when you don't have to? Like I said, canned vegetables, 6 months old, you can go two aisles down, it just came out of the ground. Okay, now, along the same theme of people are always asking me, what about juice? And what, here again, let's talk about juice for a second because that's another myth as far as what people are drinking. If something's pasteurized or it's been baked 250 degrees twice, how many nutrients do you think are still left in the juice? And then if you're trying to lose weight, what would make more sense? If you're craving orange juice, when you go, and this is if you do this, because I know most of you are probably sitting with a Tropicana carton in your refrigerator, but if you're doing this, Okay, now you're drinking a glass of orange juice. Granted, it's freshly squeezed and it's good for you, but you're now drinking the sugar of 6 oranges instead of just eating 1 orange, where you get folic acid, vitamin C, more fiber, and way less sugar. Way less sugar. But that is what I would tell someone. A marathon runner, I would tell differently, obviously. I'd let them drink as much freshly squeezed juice as they want. But I don't think there are that many 26-milers in here that that's what they want to do. So here again, what are the most important things that you need to think about? I always tell people timing of eating is important. How many breakfast eaters do we have here? Okay, so it's about right, 50-50. I have a running thing that I do when I do different talks. I make a $100 bet with anybody that's not a breakfast eater that by tomorrow morning I can make you a guaranteed breakfast eater. And they want to bet me the $100. I tell them to save their money, because what I do is I invite them to my house for dinner. I lock them in the closet. Okay? I let them out in the morning. They're chewing on my ankle. They're a breakfast eater. Who's going to be a breakfast eater if you are eating all night? You're sitting there with a TV clicker, eating all night. You're not going to be a breakfast eater. And I always tell people, when you go on a trip, you gas up the tank before the trip or after the trip. See, Americans love to gas up their tank after the trip. In other words, don't eat a big breakfast, moderate lunch, light dinner, no solid food within 3 to 4 hours of sleep. That would be healthy. No breakfast, scarf a sandwich down for lunch, and vacuum the refrigerator for dinner, because we need to unwind. We need to unwind. Had a stressful day. I need to unwind. Well, I can say right now that most of your items, like vegetables, chicken, fish, those take maybe 3.5, 4 hours to digest. A lot of your lazy fat animals that you eat, and I always tell people you are what you eat. People ask me, so can you have lean beef? I go, when's the last time you saw a cow galloping into the sunset? Lean beef. I'm trying to think, lean beef. That sounds like a marketing term to me, lean beef. Or when you see in the supermarket, 1/3 leaner ham. Boy, they must have put that pig on a treadmill. 1/3 leaner ham. So when you eat a lazy fat animal, it takes 13 to 39 hours to digest. So I always laugh when I'm driving my car by a Tony Roma's, where I see the parking lot full at 10:30 at night, and I visualize them sucking on ribs at 10:30 at night, and they want to know why they're going to have a pacemaker probably by the time they're 60. Okay, you know, if you're going to eat lazy fat animal, you are what you eat. So it's probably going to end up giving you all kinds of problems with cholesterol, hardening the arteries, you know, clogging your system up. Eat things that, I mean, fish, swim 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That sounds good to me. My first boss was Jack LaLanne, kind of aging myself. He's 94 now. And I can tell you that I was motivated beyond belief watching him swim. I saw it physically watching him swim from Alcatraz to San Francisco Bay with his hands shackled and feet shackled, dragging 3 boats of children. And he made it. Of course, he went away in an ambulance, but he made it. And it was only his 70th birthday. Not too bad. I don't know too many 18-year-olds that could have done that, okay? But he eats fish 2 times a day. He knows the proper supplements to take. And he juices maybe 2 to 3 times a day. And he's 1 heavy fiber a day, a natural fiber. Not the kind of things like you see in the supermarket where they say whole wheat bread. It's not whole wheat bread. Let's say 100% stone ground wheat. It's not whole wheat bread. You can tell just by squeezing it, it doesn't have hardly any fiber in it. So, but he does 1 heavy fiber, like a good oatmeal. And I'm not talking about oatmeal like you see, like Baskin and Robbins oatmeal. That's what I call it. You know, like the maple syrup, fudge, twirl, ripple oatmeal. So that is an oatmeal. Okay, oatmeal. Okay, or 100% strong ground wheat, oat bran, 9-grain, 12-grain, rye, pumper, things that have fiber. He does 1 fiber a day. And he's 94 now, married 65 years, and his posture, I'm looking at that posture thing with that, none of it. His posture is good. His posture is excellent. I really have sympathy for some of these people that I see crossing the street where They look like every minute they're alive, they're in pain. But yeah, you can prevent that. You can prevent it right now by eating properly and exercising and not creating atrophy in your system. I used to run health facilities in Medford, Massachusetts. My undergrad was at Boston University, and I used to have a running joke because people used to ask me, what kind of oils should we be eating? Like, you know, can we do, and I know that Medford was predominantly Italian. So I said, well, I know you're doing virgin olive oil probably. And they said, yeah. I said, but how much are you using? I think you're soaking your napkins in the olive oil, okay? You know, there has to be moderation with the oil because when I deal with BMI and percentage of body fat, and I want to get you down to a level that you're not prone for diabetes, heart disease, or high blood pressure, then you have to know that if you're going to soak and drown your food in 100% fat, it doesn't matter whether it's 100% good fat or bad fat, it's still going to stick to your system and raise your percentage of body fat, raise your body mass index, and make you more vulnerable for diabetes, heart disease, or high blood pressure. But if you're going to do oil, obviously virgin olive oil is one of the better ones because it doesn't clog your arteries, but not to where it's in excess. And the running joke I had with a lot of the Italian women that used to come to me for nutrition, I would say to them, you know, if you're waving to your husband goodbye in the morning and this waves for another hour and a half, you're probably using too much oil. Just a guess. Just a guess. Okay, but anyway, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have the proper balance, and any of the oils that you see on those products that say one of the following is contained in this, don't eat it. Because those are products that they're buying in bulk just to make money at your expense. So when you see that thing, one of the following oils is in this product. I always like that. It's like a crapshoot. One of the following oils, either cottonseed, safflower, palm oil, coconut oil, one of the following. Well, which one did they pick? You know what I mean? Well, it doesn't matter because they're all garbage. So it doesn't really matter because it is buying in bulk. It's almost like futures. You know, let's get the cheapest one this week that we can clog everybody's arteries and make a profit. Make a profit. Make more money. So you want to make sure that if you see any product that says one of the following is in this, don't eat it. Then maybe they'll go off the market and that company will go out of business. I love it. My biggest dream would to see, which will never happen, unfortunately, in my lifetime, but to see like Pepsi or Coca-Cola go under. I would love it. It'd be my last day on the earth. I'd be the happiest guy in the world. I mean, it's so funny to just see how much control they have over our children's lives. It drives me nuts. Anyway, so attitude is really, really important. I know that building up, like I said, self-esteem, self-respect, self-confidence, self-worth, has to start with self-improvement. Has to start with self-improvement. If you're 30 days older, you should be 30 days better, healthier, smarter, richer, something. But self-improvement will keep you definitely with a good focus and a good attitude, and it makes you feel that you're worth it. You're worth it. That's the one sentence I worked with. Don't hold this against me. I worked with Richard Simmons for 5 years, and the one thing he would say to overweight women is that you are worth it. You are worth it. And he made believers out of so many people. I give him a lot of credit because he really did put a value into a lot of people's hearts and souls about feeling worth it. And self-worth is what is going to determine whether you get away from immediate gratification and you start planning your day. I always tell people, if you're really, really organized about the foods that you eat and your food intake, you should know what you're going to eat for the whole day when you wake up in the morning. That eliminates a lot of these drive-thrus, I'll tell you that. Because if you're driving at 3 in the afternoon and you're starving to death and you didn't plan it, and it says, come in here, we got something for you right now. And you just got to push the button and go to the whole thing. You're going to eat it. Okay? And the other thing I tell people, when you're going grocery shopping, I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times, but I'm just going to repeat it anyway. When you're going grocery shopping, don't go hungry. Because everything will go in your cart. Oh, yeah, I remember those. Yeah, that's good. Okay, but if you go where you're not hungry, maybe you'll be more rational about, because you know once you bring the food home, somebody's going to eat it. Somebody's going to eat it. I know, I'll give you a great example of that. When I was taking final exams at Boston University, I remember my roommate, who was a football player on the team, he eat anything that didn't move. He had up on his case there, Spam, which is like another word for fecal matter, I think. But anyway, the Spam was up there, and I'm sitting there at 2:30 in the morning, and I'm starving to death. Man, I mean, I've been studying for like 5 hours. I am starving. I'm telling you, I came this close, and all of a sudden my brain came back and goes, "You gotta be kidding! You're not gonna eat that." But I mean, just tell you, I came this close to eating Spam, and that taught me, if I came this close to eating Spam, if you have it in your house and you're hungry, you're going to eat it. So you can really, here again, I always say, if you fail to plan, plan to fail. It's just a question of buy the things that at the end of the day are going to make you a winner. So you know, and don't be buying these pre-made. I mean, this is where we've gotten so lazy. I know we like nuking everything because it's convenient, and I know we like things pre-made, pre-packaged, pre-this. All I gotta do is heat it up. But when I see things like in the frozen food section where it says frozen ham sandwich, oh my God, we can't even take 2 pieces of bread and throw something like this. We gotta buy that frozen, just heat it up. All right, we have to heat up a sandwich? Oh my God, that's the epitome of laziness. I'm just saying that don't buy pre-packaged like these lettuce that are already cut up with little slices of carrots and that. You buy the package, just throw it down, and now you got instant salad. A lot of that stuff has got so many chemicals in it to keep that lettuce from turning brown. You're ending up with more chemicals in your body, almost as bad as doing something that's canned or packaged. It's horrible. So you got to buy things that are fresh or frozen. Now, when you buy frozen items, like when I tell people to buy frozen vegetables, I tell them, if you have a choice between frozen spinach that's just spinach, or frozen spinach that has sodium and BHT preservative in it, which one do you think you need to pick? Now, obviously, you don't want the extra sodium, because here again, when I'm dealing with people that want to lose weight, the first weight you lose is water weight, then you start burning fat off. But how are you going to burn fat off if you keep bloating and retaining water? You're sabotaging yourself, in addition to the fact that all the extra sodium will weigh on your system also. But whenever I'm trying to get somebody to lose 1.5 to 2 pounds a week, which is healthy, I tell them, don't sabotage yourself. Why would you want, if you know that the first weight that's going to come off is water weight, and then you're going to burn fat, why would you want to retain water and bloat so where you never get to the fat? Go ahead.
Are Monster Energy drinks bad for you?
Great question. I'm glad somebody had a question. Okay, let's get into.
Can you repeat that?
She said, are Monster drinks and energy drinks good for you? So let's talk about Monster drinks and Rock Stars and Red Bull and go on and on and on and on. Okay, that would be like asking me if Ephedra is good for you. That would be like asking me if drinking 7 cups of coffee before anybody gets into work is good for you, which you always have that person greeting you. You know the person. Then when you get to work, hey, how you doing? Did you have a good weekend? Okay. Okay. That's the person that's already sucked down 5 caffeine beverages before you even brush your teeth. Ephedra, muon, guarana, willow bark extract, anything that's speed is speed. Okay? It can break down your antibodies' immune system, make you weak, make you vulnerable for bacteria, viruses, colds, flus, and it is speed. How are you supposed to get your heartbeat rate doing that? Do anything. Walk. Get off your butt. Do something. But you don't need a drug to do what you're supposed to be doing naturally. Exercise. Just walk. Walk. Swim. Hike. Make love. Do something. But don't drink speed. You don't need it. All you're doing is giving your brain and your computer a mixed message that you're going to speed up your heart but you're not moving. Why would you want to? To me, I know I get crazy visuals, but I got to give you this one. I see having your car in park and leave it in park and just floor it. Come on, let's just go down. Let's go out to the parking lot, start up our car, leave it in park, and just floor it for about 15 minutes. That'd be good for the engine, wouldn't it? That's what I think about those. Yeah, go ahead.
What about the energy bars?
Got to be careful because first of all, a lot of your bars, the name should tip you off that it's probably not as healthy as it claims. When you see like protein energy bar, but they call it cookies and cream. What the heck? How can that possibly be a healthy bar? They're putting so many chemicals in that to make it taste like something you're not supposed to eat anyway. You know it's not going to be a naturally good, healthy product. Very, very few bars. I mean, I think I actually wrote an article for the Scottsdale Tribune on energy and protein bars back 3 years ago. I have it up in my office. It's a lot of your sugar and fat content that are in these bars. It's like eating a Milky Way. I mean, sugar is sugar and fat is fat. And marketing is marketing. So if something is excess of fat, excess of sugar, it is garbage. Okay? If we're going to consume, I mean, if you look at the ingredients of any of these bars, they sell the same crap as the Milky Way. Just because they put a few extra things in it with a little bit of, protein items in it, whether it comes from egg white or animal protein or vegetable protein, soy protein, that's fine. But look what they're putting in with it to solidify the bar. They're putting in a bunch of chemicals and garbage. And 90% of the bars that are out there are garbage, total garbage. I think there were a few, I studied a few balanced bars, and it's funny, they took them off the market. The healthiest balanced bars they made, they took off the market. The 3 high antioxidant bars, they just took off the market, okay? And those are the ones that had the better ingredients to them. The Luna for Women bar, you gotta be careful with those too. There are a couple selectorized ones, I think like the cranberry, nuts over cranberry or something like that, that has all natural fruits and nuts and stuff like that, and that's a pretty healthy bar. But most of them, 9 out of 10 bars are garbage. And you can just tell by the fat and sugar content in these bars. Now, a good formula that I use to kind of teach a lot of the people that come to me, I tell them to take the total fat grams, multiply times 10, divide by the calories per serving. If it's less than 20%, you're probably going to be safe in terms of the fat content in the product. Same thing with, they use the same formula for the sugar. Take the total sugar grams, multiply times 10, divide by the calories per serving. If it's less than 20%, you're probably going to burn up that during the course of the day. Otherwise, anything higher than that, you're going to save it and it's going to turn to fat. Good question. Okay, now, you got to be really, really careful about, like I said, the marketing of what people are saying in the supermarket. Like I said, you got to watch the breads you buy. Okay, you got to make sure that they really do have fiber. You got to watch a lot of the items. Like for example, when I talk about fiber, I tell people rice you should be doing brown, long grain, wild, not white. If you're going to eat carbohydrates, at least eat something that's going to lower your cholesterol or keep you regular or keep you healthy. Why would you want to just eat rice where they pearled all the nutrients off the rice and all you're eating is wasted carbohydrates? Makes no sense to me. Same thing, bless you. Same thing with cereals. Do you eat like Cheerios, not Apple Jam. Okay. You eat like shredded wheat, not frosted mini wheat. But if you eat good fibered cereal, if you notice those cereals like Cheerios, Corn Flakes, or shredded wheat, do the formula. Then you'll know whether it has the fiber without the fat and sugar. You're eating the cereal for the fiber. That's why that's why you're supposed to be eating. Like, if some of you are eating Count Chocula, then you obviously aren't. But I'm talking about if you're eating a cereal item, you're eating it for the fiber. You're not eating it for the sugar and the fat.
But most cereal doesn't have any fiber in it. I've been reading the labels over and over.
Cheerios is a great cereal, okay? Shredded wheat is a good cereal.
But it has so many carbs.
Well, carbs aren't bad. I mean, believe me, this isn't an Atkins seminar. I can tell you that carbohydrates can be good, okay? We're too focused on low carb, okay? Certain carbohydrates cleanse your system and are actually extremely healthy for you. First of all, with the fruits and the antioxidants and vegetables, those are carbs too. Those are, I got news for you. There's going to be a bird flu in this country. I'm going to be doing a lot of fruit carbs, a lot of dark-colored vegetables, because I want to keep my immune system strong. But, some carbs are good. I mean, believe me, the Atkins way of sucking on sour cream and meat and bacon and not eating carbs isn't the answer either, I can tell you that.
But I'm supposed to be under 200 a day, and that's what makes it hard.
Well, no, I understand. I'm just saying, though, that no, you have to be selective on the carbohydrates that you eat.
Right.
But if you're going to eat carbohydrates, they should be all the ones that are part of the maintenance of your body.
You spoke, I'm sorry.
Like, you just take the cereal, you pour it out in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's good fiber. That's excellent.
You said something before about the salad, when you
The pre-made ones, I'm
What
against.
about the spinach salad, the spinach leaves that are in the pack, in a bag?
Buy fresh. Anything, I am so anti-prepackaged anything. I'm anti-prepackaged anything because here again, you're dealing with shelf life. Shelf life, okay? They have to put preservatives and things to keep the color. And what I'm saying is, all the supermarket cares about is maintaining that product until you buy it. They don't care about your health. They could care less. It's obviously they don't care about your health because they've been selling us Hostess cupcakes for years. They don't care whether you live or die. They're going to sell whatever makes. The theme is if you're dumb enough to buy, they'll sell it to you. Okay, so you've got to learn to make healthy choices.
How much are they using foreign substances on the fresh vegetables? I noticed all the apples now are very, very shiny, all the cucumbers are shiny. Even the stuff in the fresh bins seems to be adulterated.
You know what? You're exactly right. And what you have to ask, and you have to ask. If you don't ask, you will not receive. If you don't ask, perfect example, what are on these fruits? Why is it shiny? What's going on? I want to know exactly what you got on this apple before I eat it. And they got to tell you by law, they got to tell you. The same thing by going into the meat department and saying, are these chickens free-flowing chickens?
What's that mean?
Oh, I can explain to you right now. About 70% of all the chickens in this country never move at this point. It's sad. 70% of all chickens in this country are in cubicles their entire life. They never move. From birth, they're in a cubicle, they just feed them, and get them bigger, hopefully not with steroids, which unfortunately some companies are doing that. Hopefully they don't peck each other to death because they're claustrophobic and then they need antibiotics because they're bleeding in the beaks. Okay, so 70% of our chickens are suffering. Free-flowing means like the old days where a farmer would have chickens that actually move. Went out and just did their thing. Okay, so you have to ask. You have to ask, are these chickens? First of all, the chickens today are like the veal of all time. They take a calf, tie it up at birth, feed it, massage it with beer or whatever, get it to a certain thing, okay? That meat is so tender, well, it'll melt your mouth. Okay, because it's all fat. The animal never moved. Okay, so you got to be careful with what you ask for with fruits. What's on this? Is this just natural, or did you shine this with pledge? What the hell did you do with it? I want to know what's on my apple. Okay, same thing with asking about the chickens. Okay, you want to know if it's a free-flowing animal or was it in a cubicle from birth. And like I said, 70% of the chickens in this country are in cubicles. And it's scary because we want to know why we're getting all these different cancers and sicknesses and ailments that we didn't get years ago. The more you mess with Mother Nature, the more you're going to pay for it. So we got to be real careful that we get back to natural ways of eating. natural ways of eating, like real fruits, vegetables, grains, free-flowing active animals, not inactive, lazy animals. Because I'll give you a good visual that I used in San Antonio that got me 15,000 Hispanic members in 5 years. I would ask, how many bacon eaters we got here? Okay, now my partner was a cardiologist, so he was rotor-rootering arteries 15 hours a day. He was cleaning out arteries 15 hours a day, man, with stents and, cleaning out arteries, strokes and heart attacks and angioplasties and you name it. And he said, Gary, you gotta help me. Yeah, you gotta educate these people. These people don't get it. I mean, they'll take cheddar cheese and spread it on their napkin, they'll eat bacon, they'll take the grease from the bacon and use it over and over again. It's bad enough they ate it the first time. Well, so I tried to come up with a good, scary visual for bacon. So I would ask, so, all right, how many people are bacon eaters? I said, what do you do with the secretions from it when you're all done? Oh, we use it again. Use it again. We refry our beans. I said, no, I understand. Use it again. What do you do with it when you're all done with it? Oh, I know what you probably do. You probably just pour it down the kitchen sink, right? Then all the women raise, oh, no, we wouldn't do that. If we did that, we'd pour it down the kitchen sink. We need a plumber. We'd clog up our sink. I go, oh, well, at least if I understand it. So what you're basically saying is you're paranoid about a steel pipe this big in your kitchen sink clogging, but you're feeding all your loved ones through arteries that big. That makes sense. They're all, oh, I never thought about it like that. So then I got all these people coming to me, boy, we're not eating bacon anymore. That's it. That scared me. So what you got to do is you got to give visuals to people of what's really going on in their bodies when they chew and swallow something. Because we can sit there and make lean cuisines look good. Like get a nice photograph that looks really healthy and use words like lean cuisine, and then everybody's going to go buy lean cuisine. And I mean, it's like when SnackWells first came out, man, billion-dollar industry, SnackWells, fat-free, free of fat. There's enough sugar grams in SnackWells to choke a horse. Fat-free. Okay, sugar-free, probably with a ton of fat that'll clog your artery. Sugar-free. So that's why I gave you that formula. It's just a generic, simple thing to look at to see if a lot of the products that you're eating have hidden fat or sugar in them. So let's say it again. You take the total fat grams, multiply times 10, divide by the calories per serving. It's got to be less than 20%. Same formula for the sugar. Take the total sugar grams, multiply times 10, divide by the calories per serving. Got to be less than 20%. That way you know if something's fat-free, it's got to also be low in sugar, so you're healthy. If something's sugar-free, it's got to be low in fat, so you're healthy. They're just doing marketing scams on you. A fat-free snack bar will kill you. It's got too much sugar. Sugar-free products that have way too much fat. You get these sugar-free ice creams. Well, there's enough fat in those, butter fat in those sugar-free ice creams to clog your arteries. So you got to know what you're eating. You got to know what's in the ingredients. But you don't know unless you look. And the one thing I love doing is it's fun to motivate, it's fun to educate, but you got to show intervention to your children. Best sermon is by example. Like I said, if you got an overweight, obese nurse, you're probably not going to get motivated to take the medication she tells you is going to make you a healthy-looking person. Well, the best sermon is by example to your children. If they see you eating ring dings, what are you telling them? No dessert tonight. Well, that sugar's bad for you. Okay. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to be rebellious. Your best sermon is by example. Do exactly. That's why when I do nutrition, I like doing it with the entire family. I don't even like just doing it with I ask the woman if she comes to me for nutrition, are you married? Uh-huh. Bring your husband and then we'll talk. Because a lot of times they're not supportive. They have two people eating differently and think it's going to work. Then the excuse I'm going to get is, I don't want to be making 5 different meals. I got a family to feed. Okay, let me talk to your whole family at the same time. Let's talk to all of them, even your children. And this funny thing about when I love bringing the children in to talk when the parents are there, because they tell me the truth. The parents lie through their teeth. Oh, we don't eat that. But see, the thing is, I got the scale in my office. I used to use it in a bariatric doctor's office. That, I'm sure you've seen these Tanita scales where you get on barefoot and it gives you a printout of BMI, percentage of body fat, lean muscle mass, and water weight, and numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. So when I say, so how'd you do this week? Oh, this, no, you didn't. So if their BMI and percentage of body fat don't go down when they're exercising, I told you, remember I said 80% of what you look like is what you eat. 20% is the sculpting and the exercise. So eating is the reason why, over the years, and I've been doing this, like I said, I told you Jacqueline was my first boss. For 32 years, I've been in the health club industry, trying to change people's lives. And the biggest thing is you've got to eat differently. How many people do you know have quit a health club because they were discouraged? They went 4 or 5 times a week. They still look the same. I'm busting my ass in there. What's going on? Why do I still look the same? Because you're still eating wrong. Okay? I can show you instant results of looking better and feeling better if you exercise and eat right. That's the whole trick. You've got to eat to win. Like Dr. Haas said in his book, Eating to Win, you've got to eat to win, not to lose. I wish the Suns would have eaten good before their second game. Man, I'll tell you what, they were comatose. Anyway, it's important that you set a balance in your life. Now, one thing that I've written in an article that I wrote was, in order to balance everything, where nutrition is going to make sense, all 4 categories have to make sense. In other words, spiritually, you have to be symmetrical with your nutrition, with your physical, and with your emotional. It's like having a car and one of the wheels is out of alignment. If one of the wheels is out of alignment, the car is not going to go down the highway the way you want it. Okay? So it makes no sense to have one of those 4 empty and think you're going to be healthy. So it's dealing with, and when I say spiritual, it just means feeling purpose. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to get into theology or religious preference, but I'm just talking about just feeling purpose. Okay, emotional, obviously if you spin webs of deceit or you're not sincere or caring or whatever, you set up your own karma, that's important. And then the physical and the nutritional is obvious, that if you don't stay active, if you don't use it, you lose it. Okay, and atrophy will kick into any body part you have if you're not using it, brain included. Okay, so it's important that you don't atrophy anything, and nutritionally just shows that whatever you chew and swallow, that's who you are. That's who you are. Like, so when you ask questions about, drinking a Monster or a Red Bull or a Rockstar or whatever, what you're saying is, you know what, I'm so tired in the morning. I need a jump start. I need something. Now, one thing I don't understand are people that are doing Red Bull with alcohol. It's like, let's get schizo. Let's do one thing that's going to speed me up while I'm drinking something that's going to bring me down, and put them both together and then kind of just flip out. I don't get it. Anyway, so anything that you see with any of those speeds in it are speed. So if you see ephedra, muon, guarana, willow bark extract, or caffeine, speed is speed. Speed is speed. Doesn't matter if your heart's doing this and you're not moving, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Anybody else have any questions about it? Yeah.
Are any types of pastas or noodles better?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. Semolina, wheat gluten pasta, spinach pasta, tomato pasta, something that's got something in it besides bleached white flour. Okay. Anything with bleached white flour, here again, you're turning yourself into a science project again. You want to eat chemicals or you want to eat food? Okay, if you can eat bleached white flour, now you're a science project again. You're eating chemicals. Okay? But if you eat fiber, wheat gluten pasta, like our semolina, which is a protein pasta, or tomato pasta, anything that's a high fiber pasta that has no bleached white flour. Okay? Any other questions? That's a good question.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I started eating just brown rice, but it's a minute rice and you're going, oh.
No. Hey, can I tell you? At least
You know what
that's
I mean?
baby steps. Everything's baby steps.
Yeah.
So brown rice is cool. Brown rice is cool.
But it tastes so awful with water that I put chicken, it's chicken broth. And
Is it 100% fat-free chicken broth?
I think it says 99.9.
that's good. I'll buy that.
Yeah, and I use that instead of water, which makes it taste excellent. Is that bad?
No, not at all. No, just make sure there's not too much sodium in your,
No, I don't like a lot
chicken
of
broth.
salt. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying, if you get a canned chicken
Sure.
broth, you're in trouble. But if you have your own chicken broth and you put it over brown rice, that's healthy. That's good for you. That's good for you. You have a question?
Do you recommend like snacks in between breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, as long as we're talking about that, the first hour you're awake, you should eat something. That raises your metabolism to burn fat for the rest of the day. Every 4 hours that you're awake, you should eat something. That's why that snack comes in handy, like a piece of fruit or whatever. So that means you're good for another 4 hours. You eat an apple, good for another 4 hours. Now, what I tell people that are trying to lose weight is you allow 2 to 3 fruits a day on my program. Bananas count as 2 fruits, and you're only allowed bananas in the morning on my program if you're trying to lose weight. The only fruit after 4 p.m. are melons, berries, and grapefruit, because that's going to be lower in sugar and with more water. But every 4 hours, and your portions are always your fifth. But you want to eat something every 4 hours, and that doesn't mean all you can eat for $8.99 at a buffet. It means like spread it out during the course of the day so you're always comfortable. You're never stretching your body with too much stuff, way too much fuel, way too much things you don't need. So the more you do snacks, as long as, here's the key to snacks. If snacks aren't sugar, if snacks are healthy, if snacks have fiber, if snacks are something that's good for you, you eat less during the sit-down meals. But remember, I said more in the morning, moderate at lunch, light at night, no solid food within 3 to 4 hours of sleep. You're good to go, and that way you won't need a monster in the morning. See, what happens is most people that eat at night, okay, when they wake up in the morning, they feel like a Mexican revolution happened in their body, okay? Because their body was doing like the Vegemadic, where it's sliced and diced and cut and churned in only seconds. What happened was your body is digesting, if it's digesting the majority of the food that you eat for the day at night, do you think when you wake up in the morning you're going to be rested? Your body was going through hell. Your mind rested maybe, but your body was digesting stuff all night long. So you got that feeling where you wake up beat up and you want to hit the alarm and sleep that extra snooze control 15 minutes and you do it again. Maybe you want just one more 15. Maybe I'll shampoo my hair real quick. So you hit another 15. Well, a lot of that's because you ate too much at night. So your snack is to make sure that you balance it out evenly during the course of the whole day and have less in the evening hour. So wouldn't it make sense to have the most fuel in your system when you're the most active and the least amount of fuel in your system when you're the most inactive? Why would somebody want to eat the majority of their food when they have a TV clicker on their ass? I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. So, but if you're eating a big breakfast, well, you're going to burn that up just doing your thing. And then you'll have more energy and retain more during the course of the day because you've got good nutrients going through your body all day. But if you skip breakfast, and now you're comatose because you have no fuel. And the worst thing you can do is skip a meal, because if you go 4 or 5 hours with nothing, now your body goes into starvation mode. And even if you ate a healthy salad, it'll store as fat. Your body's going to suck it in and store it as fat because you put your body through starvation mode. So you don't want to do that either. So snacks are good as long as you're like an accountant and balancing out the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, what about before working out? How long do you recommend eating, and is it better to work out in the morning or afternoon? Or
It's better to work out whenever your brain tells you to work out, as long as you work out, okay? There's no biorhythms or whatever, or you don't need a soothsayer to tell you, morning, afternoon, evening is the best time to work out. The bottom line is work out, okay? As far as eating goes, you want to eat something maybe an hour, hour and a half before, so you're not sitting there, tasting it again while you're working out. And the same thing with vitamins. You always want to take your vitamins with food, so you're not tasting your vitamins all day either. So don't ever take your supplements with an empty stomach either. But always eat something, not heavy, but eat something good about an hour, hour and a half before your workout. Now, if you're doing a lot of cardio, then you'd want to do something with more carbohydrates to it. If you're doing negative weight resistance, then you probably want to definitely have amino acids, protein going through your body about an hour, hour and a half before your workout. Yeah, go
Also, after your workout, I've been told that you're supposed to be eating proteins and things, so
Mhm.
you're fueling your body, is that right?
Yeah, the recovery, yeah, just amino acids. I always like doing a liquid protein shake with good protein powder, maybe ice water, and then some fresh strawberries, blend it up and pound it about 30, 40 minutes after my workout. And then that way, you definitely refuel the muscles that got worked that day. Definitely good for you. Any other questions? Yes?
How do you feel about soy products?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I know that, you know, you hear about the estrogen problem with too much soy, and I think anything in excess is wrong. I think, I'll tell you what I do when I deal with women that aren't protein eaters, okay? And they end up with iron deficiencies or anemia or whatever. I make them eat edamame at least 4 or 5 times a week, okay? Now, if anybody doesn't know what edamame is, the soybean pods. You know, you get them at Japanese restaurants as an appetizer, or you can get them at Costco, which is a lot better because bag's about $5 at Costco for this. And if you go to the Japanese restaurant, you get this much for $4. But edamame is just soybean pods. And the funniest thing is people are thinking, when I tell them about this, they think, oh, you mean those pea pod things like I eat when I do the Chinese food? Yeah, no, those you can eat the whole thing. The pod on a edamame is so tough you can't even put it down the garbage disposal. It'll ruin your garbage disposal. So yeah, there's a big difference. But edamame is the soybean pod, and the soy that's in edamame is natural and good. I'm not into the tofu and first of all, I think it tastes like a sponge, number one. And two, there's a lot of fat that goes into some of the tofus that they make. They don't make it properly. It's not just, they say, oh, it's soybean curd. Well, no, it isn't soybean curd. It's mixed with fat. So the edamame, I would recommend 4 or 5 times a week for people that don't, especially vegans or vegetarians that are anti-everything, you know, anti-egg whites, which is fine. I respect that. I mean, whatever you want to put in your system, and that's your philosophy. I'm not a vegan, but I don't do lazy fat animal. You know, I'll do fish. I'll do free-flowing chicken. But edamame, I recommend to people that don't do egg whites, or don't get enough amino acids, or don't get enough protein. And I do recommend that soy intake 4 or 5 times a week, just so that they don't end up with a protein deficiency. But eating too much soy would be like drinking too much beer. I mean, you know, obviously, I know bodybuilders that come to me that, former Mr. Olympias. I used to work with Larry Scott and different people. Here again, I'm showing my age, but they would do way too much protein where they end up with uric acid problems and pancreas problems and kidney problems and liver problems. Too much of anything's no good. The body can only assimilate so many grams of protein per every 2-3 hours. So anything in excess is no good. But soy, balanced out during the course of a week, I think is very healthy, especially if it's a natural, healthy derivative like edamame. Any other questions? Yes.
Like canned soups and things like chicken noodle soup, cream of chicken, how do those all?
Well, let me tell you this. I've seen so many lists in different newspapers since I write for the Scottsdale Tribune feature articles. I've seen so many articles where they'll tell you that these are the top 10 worst products you can possibly put in your body. One of them always ends up being some Campbell's soup product, because the sodium is enough to kill you. And then there's another product that the women like, what's that noodle thing, the Roman? Yeah, that's it. That little packet that comes with that, there's enough salt in that for a month. Okay, I mean, it's like, whoa, way too much sodium. But if you're gonna do soups, here again, what we say, convenience will kill you. Planning will keep you alive and healthy for a long, long time. If you make your own soups, oh my God, that is so healthy for you, I can't even tell you. Okay, I don't know about cream or anything, but if you make, from scratch any kind of bean soup or lentils or chicken soup, where you actually have the chicken, where you made it yourself and everything, you're not putting in 800 milligrams of salt. You're making it fresh. It's right there. You can eat it. Soups are great for you. I mean, especially not that Arizona gets that many cold months, but for the couple we do, soup's good. Yeah.
What do you feel about treating yourself? Like you did really well all week. Like what would be
That's a good question, and I'll tell you how there's a fine line to that. Okay, what would I say to somebody that would go into AA meetings, done great for like 5 months? Come on, let's go out and have a glass of wine. You're good, man. You're good. You're good to go. You're ready to go. What do you think about that? Doesn't work. Okay, so it's dealing with an individual's program. How's the program ticking up here? Now, someone like yourself, I can guarantee you, I can just tell if you were asked questions about working out, what I do before, what I do after, what I do during, you work out. Okay, and you look good, so when you cheat, you'll probably cheat, maybe let's say for you cheating would be, I have 3 potato chips. Let me say, I'm gonna, you know what? I'm watching Dr. Phil and I'm gonna have 3 potato chips. But I'm gonna stop after 3. I'm only gonna have 3. You could probably stop after 3 potato chips. I know people that I work with that if they have 3 potato chips, there will be an industrial-sized box missing that night. Okay? So it depends on the person. Depends on the person. Can I just cheat, have a little bit of chocolate? I want to just a little. I want to taste. I want to taste. I say no. Are you going to have a little bit of chocolate? Really? Or you know what? Well, I had a little piece of chocolate, so what's a slice of pizza going to do? Nothing. I mean, chocolate. I love a slice of pizza. I already cheated on my program. When do you say no? The key is, everybody's going to have a bump in the road. I mean, Jack Lane's probably the only human being I've ever met in my life that doesn't have a bump in the road when it comes to food consumption. He will absolutely, if he says to me, Gary, I'm having fish twice a day, I'm juicing 3 times, I'm having my vitamins, I'm eating my fiber, done deal. I would take whatever he says to the bank every day. Anybody else? No way. Everybody else, probably he's had little bumps in the road, big bumps in the road, crevices in the road. Everybody's different. Everybody's completely different. But the bottom line when people ask me that question is, you know when you look in the mirror, if one thing you're going to give yourself a treat, is that treat going to lead to sabotaging your program, sabotaging your attitude, sabotaging your behavior modification? What is that one treat going to do? If you know you can have it and go right back on the program and that's your treat for the week, not for the day or the hour, but for the week, you're good to go. You're good to go. But it all depends on the individual. Like I said, I always bring up the same example when people ask me that. If I got somebody that is 5 weeks, double A, they're good, they're clean. Can I tell them what's going on with a glass of wine and silver? Never. They have an addictive personality, can't do it. Any other question?
Yeah, I have one about nuts. I know they tend to add a lot of sodium to nuts, what nuts are good? And then also with peanut butter, I'm like all weird about peanut butter. I love it, but I'm just like afraid of it.
Well, you should, well, here's the thing. Here again, okay, when you're having peanut butter, do you thinly put a little bit on? I've seen people that half the jar is gone with one sandwich. Okay, it's like, poof, you know what I mean? They're like pounding it, okay? Or are you thinly putting a little bit on, you know, and then eating? See, here again, it's a question of how much. A little bit of peanut butter isn't going to kill you. Organic peanut butter or a good quality peanut butter is obviously better for you. As far as the nuts go, dry roasted. I don't do anything other than dry roasted. When I do, the ones that are the healthiest for you would be like cashews, which has enzymes in it that's brain food. And I need all the brain food I can eat. As I get older, I'll be 58 this month, so cashews sound good. I need all the brain I can still keep. And then almonds are good for your skin, and almonds have good nutrients in it. I stay away from anything other than cashews and almonds are the 2 healthiest. And anything else probably has excess of fat, cholesterol. Any other questions?
What about low-fat cheese? Does that make a difference?
Remember that formula I gave you?
Yeah, so you just...
Oh man, I know Kraft fat-free pre-shredded mozzarella and cheddar has no fat and sugar. I can tell you that. Kraft fat-free pre-shredded mozzarella and cheddar has 0 fat, 0 sugar, gives you calcium, and I think it tastes good. I know a lot of people think that It has no flavor, but I think it tastes good. As long as you don't nuke it, because then you could probably make an adobe hut with it. But if you just put it in a regular little oven roast, you know, with a little doodad, it'll melt fine. But if you nuke it, you could probably make shoes out of it, I think. Any other questions? Well, anyway, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it.